Overwhelmingly, the fake news that we see pumped out of this building on a day-to-day basis, it's honestly overwhelming to keep up with it all.
What better way to start our year-end countdown of Trump trolls Trump than with Ava Brown accidentally telling the truth? My word. She's correct. There is so much misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda coming out of this White House that it is genuinely almost impossible to keep up. And who would know better than the queen of Nazi propaganda herself? Yes, the aforementioned press secretary, Ava Brown, Caroline Levitt. So, hello, it is time for the year-end wrap-up of Trump Trolls Trump, one of our favorite things to do around here, by the way. We're looking back at the top 10 moments from this year, courtesy of Donald and his regime of enablers and inept idiots. The most ridiculous, embarrassing, and frankly surreal moments of the year. And I know you're all asking yourselves this question. How in the world did you narrow it down to 10? Not easy. We could have done a top 100. Well, who am I kidding? We could have done a top infinity. But we all have stuff to do. So let's get started. And we are starting at the very beginning. That would be January 20th, Inauguration Day, a dark day in American history, or as Donald would have us call it, the dawn of the golden age of America. That was the day all of this began. Newly incoming House Speaker Mike Johnson had a few things to say about what we all had to look forward to. Let's take a look.
Now we have President Trump back. He has a great team. He has willing partners in the House and Senate, unified government. The adults are back in the room, okay? And we are going to turn this economy around.
Well, he got it half right, actually. There are no adults in this particular room or any of the rooms in the Trump regime, but they did turn this economy around. It went from being what The Economist, hardly a liberal rag, called the Biden economy, the envy of the world, to being one of the most disastrous economies on the planet. The American economy is in free fall, thanks entirely to Donald's disastrous economic policies. And it gets worse from there because right out of the gate, everybody was complaining about the high price of eggs. You could argue that Donald got the election win because of the price of eggs, which seemed to be the only thing anybody freaking talked about. This was before grocery prices rose across the board. See those aforementioned disastrous economic policies. But in a short period of time, the cost of beef, coffee, and pretty much everything else would rise dramatically. But back in those more innocent, halcyon days of early spring, the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, went on Fox Day TV to announce that she was excited about a new concept of a plan to combat high egg prices. Do I even need to tell you? I mean, doesn't it go without saying? Backyard chickens.
Well, the Department of Agriculture is now warning that Americans could see the price of eggs spike more than 40%. Here to break it all down for us is our new Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. Brooke, it's so great to have you on. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Rachel.
Well, I have chickens in my backyard. Sean started that.
Yes.
And yesterday I went out. They just started laying. And yesterday I got 5 eggs. I guess my question, if you could make it just really quick because I'm out of time, is part of the solution more small farms? Because when avian flu hits and you have these giant industrial farms and these chickens, which I don't think the eggs are as good anyway, is part of it just investing in smaller farms, encouraging that?
I think the silver lining in all of this is how do we, in our backyards, we've got chickens too in our backyard, how do we solve for something like this? And people are sort of looking around thinking, wow, well, maybe I could get a chicken in my backyard. And it's awesome. I agree with you.
That's right. Fuck you, apartment dwellers. Starve. As concerning as it was to hear the administration recommend backyard chickens as a solution to high prices, which again is not something many of us have access to, at least Donald, as we know, because he keeps telling us, had already passed multiple cognitive tests. No, he didn't just pass them. I am so sorry to misrepresent what actually happened. He aced them. He assured everybody that he understood the problem. According to him, it all came down to a single word, an old-fashioned word that has fallen out of use, but will become more and more popular Donald wanted us to know that he knew exactly what it meant.
Likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it.
Is that what groceries are? A bag with different things in it? Well, I guess if Donald says so, it is. I'm going to go take my groceries to get stuff at the market and put my groceries in my groceries. Because that makes sense.
So it says a bag with different things in it.
In the spring of 2025, there were far bigger problems than the price of eggs. And, locating backyards for everybody in America to raise chickens. That same month, we learned that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and National Security Advisor Michael Waltz accidentally included a journalist from The Atlantic on a Signal text thread in which they were discussing war plans. That's right, actual war plans on an unclassified, unsecure group chat. This was a massive, potentially catastrophic security breach, an operational debacle, so profound it defies explanation. So what were the consequences? There weren't any. As always, with the Trump regime, there's an excuse. Nothing is ever anybody's fault, certainly not Donald's. So Mike Waltz, who again at the time was the NSA, told Laura Ingraham a lie so audacious, so desperate that it was very clear he was just trying to save his own ass. Unfortunately for him, didn't exactly work. So let's take a look at Mike Waltz explaining how he believes phone contacts work.
I can tell you for 100%, I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists. And I know him in the sense that he hates the president, but I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone, and we're going to figure out how this happened.
So you don't, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but how did the number
have you ever had somebody's contact that shows their name, and then you have somebody else's number there?
I never make those mistakes.
Right? I'm sure everybody out there has had a contact where it was said one person and then a different phone number.
But you've never talked to him before, so how's the number on your phone? I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this, but it's just curious. How's the number on your phone?
Well, if you have somebody else's contact and then somehow it gets
someone
sucked
sent
in,
you that
it gets
contact.
sucked in.
A lie so unbelievable that even the vile Laura Ingraham doesn't buy it. But of course, as I said, even though Waltz did have to step down as National Security Advisor, he got appointed to be the United States representative to the United Nations. Failing up, it's a thing if you suck up to Donald enough. There's more coming in at 5 on our countdown. We have Liberation Day. On April 2nd, Donald announced that this was the day of his tariff rollout. A sweeping, unconstitutional, and completely pointless trade war, not just against the world, but, and I'm not kidding, against penguins. Penguins! Of course, nobody understood Donald's plan because there really wasn't one. No explanation he gave made any sense because there was no sense to be made. He rolled out his haphazard, weird, and completely unilateral and uneven tariffs to the confusion of everybody. Prices, well, they kept going up all year long. As the damage he's caused mounted, Donald kept trying to explain. Not that he had made a mistake, not that he had committed some kind of egregious failure. No, but that he had given us all a gift. And I don't mean the gift of mocking him, because that really wouldn't be what his goal was. That's our goal. According to him, this was something he did not to Americans, but for Americans. And it wasn't even just for the United States. This was his gift for the entire world. So let's watch Donald try to explain this to Brett Baer on Fox State TV.
You're happy with what you came out of it?
If I didn't have tariffs, we would right now, the entire world would be in a depression. Because, that wasn't a threat against us. That was a threat against the entire world. I did this for the world. But yeah, I would say that I can guarantee you this. If I didn't put 100% tariff immediately on China, the entire world, because of magnets, a special kind of rare earth, etc., right? Would be closed up. I did this for the world.
Okay. Well, that is a combination of megalomania and incomprehensibility that is truly impressive, even for him. He did it for the world. He is a selfless man who has a bizarre obsession with magnets. What are you going to do? I don't know. I guess destroy the world economy. Thanks, Donald. Next, we move on to the ill-fated star-crossed romance of the year. It didn't start innocently, but it started, and somehow it became, well, let's put it this way. Elon Musk and Donald Trump became the most famous power couple in the world. It was a meeting of the minds. It was a meeting of the simple minds. And for a while, they really had us talking about it almost constantly. They even turned the front step of the White House into what looked like a used car lot. So let's take a walk down memory lane and just visit some of the lowest of low points in the romance between Donald and Elon.
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer. That's beautiful. Wow.
Everything's computer. Sadly, as often happens with great love stories, it was not destined to last. And we have to hang on to this hope. All evil things too shall pass. Elon, feeling a little hurt over Donald's big, abominable bill, turned on him. I guess because he wasn't getting enough satisfaction from destroying every single American institution and pillaging our treasury. Musk even went so far as to post on his failing social media site that Donald's name appeared in the Epstein files, which was a domino. Quote, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT, unquote. That's not really what you expect from the true love they shared, even for so brief a time.
The bromance is definitely over. President Trump and Elon Musk erupted into a nasty public feud today.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
The extraordinary squabble happened before the eyes of the world as the president was meeting with the Chancellor of Germany in the Oval Office. He claims Musk has turned against him because the big, beautiful bill removes the tax credits for buying electric cars, like Teslas.
I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here.
Musk was listening and he responded in real time, basically calling Trump a liar. False. This bill was never shown to me even once, he declared on social media as Trump bashed him. Such ingratitude. Without me, Trump would have lost the election.
You could see he looked visibly sad when talking about this fraying relationship.
We love Elon, don't we? He's a character.
The true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire.
The rift is reportedly so deep, Musk won't even take calls from the White House.
Members of Trump's team have reached out to Elon Musk. No response.
You know, they say I wear a lot of hats. And as you can see, it's true. Even my hat has a hat.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm Gothic MAGA.
Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know who well anymore. I was surprised.
Yeah, Donald doesn't get sad. He looked annoyed because he lost control of one of his pets. Elon did tell the truth, though. Donald would have lost the election if it weren't for the hundreds of millions of dollars Elon Musk used to help buy that election for his little puppet. All right, back to the countdown. Coming in at number 3, another love story of a sort, one that transcends a single year. Sure, 2025, or at least the first few months of it, were all about Elon and Donald, but Donald has a love that runs much deeper. This one goes back decades. To honor that bond, that mutual admiration, a statue was placed just across the White House. Now, the Park Service tore it down once, but the union was simply too strong to be denied. The love between these two individuals, too powerful to be ignored or maligned. So the statue returned. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump statue of love.
A bronze-painted sculpture of Jeffrey Epstein and U.S. President Donald Trump returned to the National Mall on Thursday. The sculpture appeared briefly in September but was removed shortly after its arrival. It depicts the president and the disgraced financier looking jovial and holding hands. Visitors and others passing by stopped to take photos with the statue before it disappears again.
Yeah, that's moving, isn't it? When you have two best friends who have something so compelling in common, especially when one of them is a rapist and sex trafficker of girls and young women. Way to pick your friends, Donald. Coming in at 2 on our countdown is one of Donald's greatest hits in grifting. Over the years, he's tried to sell everything, like everything that's not friggin' nailed down. Steaks, vodka, cologne. Could you imagine? Cologne. Bottled water, Christmas ornaments, commemorative coins, meme coins, education. You name it. Just endless, ridiculous, worthless junk. And every single one of those businesses until now has gone out of business. There have been lawsuits. There have been fraud allegations, just one disaster after another, because one of the greatest enduring myths of our time is that Donald is actually good at anything, including business. This year, though, there was one product that really felt like it might break through. But then again, it was spearheaded by Donnie. So I think that was a baseless hope. This was supposed to be different, though, bigger, more ambitious. And yes, I'm talking about Trump Mobile, a phone priced at under $100,000. Yes, priced under $100,000. Priced under $1,000. Alleged to be made completely in the United States of America, which, as far as I understand it, is a technical impossibility. Specifically designed for the MAGA crowd. And to my point, there is one probably small but also insurmountable problem. There is literally no infrastructure in the United States of America to build such a phone at that price point. No matter, they took the money from their marks and deposited it anyway, because of course they did. No phone has ever been produced, no phones have been shipped, and to the best of my knowledge, no refunds have been issued either, and they never will be, because the phone will be here in 2 weeks or 2 years. Just keep waiting. The report we're about to see first came out at Thanksgiving, but by all accounts, it remains entirely accurate. So let's take a look back at the story of Trump Mobile.
The Trump family's attempt to launch a new smartphone is off to a rough start. You may remember back in June, Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. announced the launch of a new American-made mobile phone along with a wireless service they called Trump Mobile. The release was originally slated to happen in August, but now it's November and people are still waiting.
This phone was supposed to be gold. It was going to have an American flag on the back. And so we put that pre-order and they were promising that these phones would be released in August. Here we are in November. I've been trying trying to get out to the call center every few weeks and say, hey, what's the update? And I've been perpetually told it's going to be released at the end of this month. It's going to come out next month. This is interesting because they've been taking $100 deposits, including from me, for this phone. Nowhere to be seen in terms of where the rest of this phone is, and it doesn't seem like anyone has gotten their phones. I even got a fraud alert from my credit card company when I tried to put in that $100 deposit, saying, "Hey, are you really trying to buy this Trump phone here?"
Not entirely sure what to say to anybody who would pay money for that thing. But I'm sure its delivery is just around the corner of, I don't know, $20.99? Maybe. Good luck. And just write it off. You're never getting that $100 back. Sorry to say. Now we have finally reached our top position on the countdown of the most outrageous moments of the Trump regime to unfold over the past year. Yes, there were scandals, there were grifts, there were moments so absurd they defied explanation, so we mocked all of it. But there can only be one winner for top troll of 2025. May I please have the envelope? Oh, look. Here it is. The number one troll. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is the Rump Watch.
I'm very disappointed. I want it to be a special thing for her. And we had expected that it would have the integrity of the President of the United States.
Showing support for the president and love for his wife.
Just thought it was really nice. It was beautiful. And I knew it would be something that she'd like.
And Tim Pettit shelled out $640 for a watch that may now be even more of a one-of-a-kind than he bargained for.
Get your Trump watch right now. Go to gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
Pettit bought the watch after hearing an ad like that one on the radio.
With the president's voice hawking the watches.
Pettit picked out the pink inauguration First Lady model.
It has the pink and it has little fireworks on it.
Melanie Pettit likes the style, but it's what this watch does not have that makes it stand out.
I noticed it right away. The T is missing. It just says RUMP.
So it should say Trump.
Should say Trump.
Instead,
it says Rump.
She has a $640 Rump watch.
And an apology would be nice for making my wife cry.
Well, here's the problem. You assumed that it would have the integrity of the Trump presidency. And here's the thing. It does. So, my friends, don't ever buy anything from these grifters. Because if you're expecting integrity from Donald Trump, you have not been paying attention. Also, there's a bridge not too far from me. I'm more than happy to sell you. So, thank you so much for watching our final Trump Trolls Trump of 2025 and helping us recap the most outrageous and mockable events of the year. Have an incredible and happy new year. And until we meet again, here is Robert De Niro, icon, from this year's Tony Awards with a very simple message for Donald that I think all of us can get behind. And I don't mean that in the rump sense of the word.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert De Niro.
I'm going to say one thing. Fuck Trump. It's no longer down with Trump, it's fuck Trump.
Now, I, of course, prefer to say fuck Donald, but let's go with it, shall we? All right, Happy New Year. I will see you all in 2026.